Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Midwest Ag This Week. I'm Stu Ellis. I take care of the farm chores here at Channel 3. We begin with a look at what's on farmers' minds as the Illinois Farm Bureau heads to Chicago. We'll look at market dynamics of ethanol, oil, and COVID. There's a new crop insurance product that may really come in handy next spring, and you'll meet two very special ladies. All of that and even more as we catch you up to date.
Welcome to Midwest Ag This Week with host Stu Ellis.
Well, the Illinois Farm Bureau holding its annual meeting this weekend, culminating with delegates from all counties reviewing and revamping the organization's policy book. That process identifies what's at the top of mind of many Illinois farmers, says Mark Gebhardt, head of Illinois Farm Bureau's Governmental Affairs Division.
Well, I think really, Stu, there are two areas that we've seen submittals come into our policy resolution process. Number one, it's time for another farm bill. And even though that's a year plus away, farmers are already thinking about what is it we like about the current farm bill and what would we like to see in future bills. And as you know, there's been an awful lot of talk about carbon sequestration and the whole climate change process. That's very much a part of some of these submittals, and how do farmers want to see a policy that basically provides us with some kind of criteria or a way forward, if you will, as we go through the development of the next bill. But number two, and probably the biggest area really that we have out here, is that of the renewable energy area. And when I talk about renewable energy, the submittals that have come from our members really are about how do we find a balance? How do we find a balance between private property rights, farmland preservation, because as you know, once you take prime farmland out and you put it into a solar farm, you're not going to farm it. And there are people that are concerned about that. And then there is just the issue of how do we, again, whether it's wind or solar or whatever the case might be, how do we protect those private property rights? Those, without a doubt, are the two main areas that we see the most interest and the most concern, I would say, around what's on farmers' minds.
Sounds like fodder for a pretty good discussion.
I think so. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. Our delegate process, which you've attended many, many times, is always a very thorough process. And it's important because, as I like to say, policy matters because it guides this organization and it guides us as staff and our leadership, our board of directors, when we take positions on legislative bills or regulations, whatever the case might be. We write another farm bill. That policy book is our Bible.
Well, with the current fuss with OPEC over oil prices and a new COVID concern, what will be the impact on ethanol and its contribution to corn prices? Let's ask Todd Holtman, commodity analyst for DTN.
It's a complicated picture, and I'll try to put it together best as I can, but our U.S. oil production is still been hurt by last year's pandemic, and we have not recovered the production that we lost when oil prices took a dive last year, and we had several oil and gas companies go bankrupt in North America. So it's been difficult to get that production back to pre-pandemic levels. We lost about 25% of our oil production last year. We're still down about half of that amount. Now, obviously, our demand is coming back as the economy gets more active. So that's why we've been seeing these oil and gas prices increase this year. It's also given an opportunity, though, to have a greater need for ethanol and biofuels, and we've really seen the ethanol profit margin take off here in the last month, and that's been very supportive for our corn price.
But OPEC has come in, putting the accelerator on their oil price, which who knows how long that could last.
Yeah, now OPEC is stuck right now with this plan, which they say they're going to increase 400,000 barrels per day each month until they get back to pre-pandemic levels. But with the pandemic news that's erupted recently, there's a concern about oil demand dropping suddenly again if this is a serious variant, and we don't know the answers to any of that yet, but that's the potential concern. Of course, OPEC doesn't want to see another surplus of oil generate, so they're kind of watching this closely, and it all has a big impact on what happens to our oil price.
And to corn prices.
And to corn prices. Overall, I do think the good ethanol margins are going to stay in place overall through this, and I think it's going to outlast the pandemic, but we'll see.
And speaking of gas, farmers have been putting on a different type of gas out in the fields.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they've been busy. Harvest seems to be done.
Harvesting's done,
Yep.
but some anhydrous yet to go for the guys that are putting it on this fall.
That's right.
The soil temperature is going to be a critical factor here.
It is. It's been a lot of sunshine. Sunshine
That's
on
right.
Friday, more sunshine today.
Okay.
Starting to get a little more active here moving forth. We can see on our pattern here by Sunday afternoon, tomorrow night. Then we get the chance for some rain here. Light in nature, maybe the backside a little wintry mix. But we're entering a more active pattern here. We get another clipper system coming in Tuesday and Wednesday. That one brings a little bit of rain snow mix with it too. Light amounts expected. But then another one looks to round in as we head into Thursday, perhaps into Friday. So we're starting to see a little bit quicker of a pickup of these systems here. Well, I'm going to show you here on Saturday, temperatures are a little bit lower, but Sunday they go back up. They've been fairly warm here, and that's affected the soil temperature. Good news, though, we get some 30s for a couple of days here and a little bit up. It's not going to be too bad. 40s, maybe low 50s late this upcoming week into the following weekend before it drops on down. Probably not as warm as we saw here. The soil temperatures, though, have responded accordingly to all the sunshine here. Olney reporting 50 degrees. Most of the others, though, between 45 and 50. We do have Stell up in northern Ford County. That's at 42.4. That's the 4-inch bare soil temperatures. They may go up a little more, but they'll drop down pretty quickly here as we move into the weekend and early next week with that cold rain coming down. 8 to 14-day outlook looks a little wetter than normal. We average about a ½ inch of rain every week in the month of December. Some of that, yes, does come down to snow at times here. We'll wait and see if that happens. Probably not. The outlook for 8 to 14-day temperature-wise does look warmer than normal here, and so likely a bit warmer and a bit wetter here in the forecast for us here as we watch, and so that's something we're going to keep our eyes on. I want to mention again, you see this little wet spot here. Fairly much of a La Nina look to that. Drier out to the west, a little wetter here, and with that temperature outlook being a little warmer, snow probably unlikely. I think, Stu, they'd probably like to get a nice hard freeze before we get any snow on the ground, maybe to kill some bugs and kill some of those off before this season goes. So we'll see. Snow looks like we may get a brief chance, but we don't have any big-time high-impact systems in the forecast here, at least for the next 7 days.
Some of the insects, they're pretty hardy, and they can withstand some cold temperatures.
That's right. Wouldn't hurt to get down the teens and 20s with bare ground, though, I don't think. Sometimes you get that snowpack there. That can insulate the ground, too. Good news, though, there's still overall plenty of time, I think, for the farmers to get their last things for the fall season taken care of.
Okay, we hope they can, but if you can't get your anhydrous on this fall, there's a really good news for you about next spring, and we'll talk about that right after this.
Welcome back to Midwest Ag This Week.
Well, farmers who did not get their nitrogen applied this fall will have to do it next spring. We'll have a new crop insurance policy that will indemnify them if springtime weather is not conducive to nitrogen application then either. The PACE crop insurance program is an effort of the Illinois corn growers and conservation groups, according to Rodney Weinzierl of the Illinois Corn Growers.
And what the product does is we're really encouraging, and farmers want to better manage the nitrogen that they use for corn. Part of that management is right time. So in agriculture, we might hear about the 4 R's. Well, one of the R's is right time. And the point of that is if nitrogen fertilizer is applied when the corn plant needs it, it's much more efficient. You know that you applied it and it's all going to get used by the corn plant, which means that you have a lot less risk of nutrient loss and ending up with the nitrogen going down the river. And farmers don't want to do that because they paid for it, right? So this is really a good practice, but the risk of not getting it on because of weather during the summer is a really big deal. And what this crop insurance product does is it helps farmers lay off that weather risk of not getting it on and encourage them then to try it because that risk has been, they have a tool now to manage that risk. So this new product would ensure the ability or the inability due to weather of a farmer not being able to get that second application or third application of nitrogen on, and thus they should be more likely to put on the nitrogen at the right time. It's an option. It will carry a premium value, just like any other insurance price. But again, it's a way for farmers to manage that risk, and right now they have no other way to do that. So we anticipate that over the next several years, there'll be more and more interest in this product, and it will initially be launched. And actually, the crop insurance agents are still being trained on it right now over the next couple of weeks, and farmers will be starting to hear about it as we get into mid-December and beyond.
So if that problem is applicable to you, write down the word PACE, P-A-C-E, and talk to your crop insurance agent about that before the deadline next March 15th. Well, a young woman from rural Montgomery County is the new president of the American AgriWomen. Heather Nodal took the association's gavel a couple weeks ago, and in addition to her personal economic and entrepreneurial development work.
American AgriWomen is the nation's largest coalition of farm, ranch, and agribusiness women. We work with professionals and producers from around the country. We have affiliates in more than 25 states, and also affiliates that represent commodity groups. For example, timber, women in timber. And we work together to provide advocacy efforts. So we work together on policy initiatives at the federal level specifically. We also provide leadership development and networking opportunities among those women, because it means so much more to meet in person and have a personal relationship than watching any number of videos or online type social networks. We like to take it to the next level.
Right. And as the new president, what are you bringing to the table? What would you like to see the organization do in your year of leadership?
Well, our officers met in November while we were in Phoenix, and we plan to roll out a next level leadership development program to help women get results, both where they're at in their business, if they want to work with nonprofit organizations, and just wherever they're at in their life's journey. So we want to meet them where they are and provide really deep level training and insight into how they can be their best self.
Women have a great impact in agriculture today.
They do, and we see that in enrollment in colleges and universities. We see that in our FFA and 4-H programs. Not that those are only about agriculture, but we want to work with those young people as well as women who may be at a point in their life where they're thinking, I finally have time to give back to this industry or to give back to my community.
We've got a new face. There's Sherm Newland. Sherm, we welcome you to Midwest Ag this week. You're down south. You've been farming here all this fall while we've been working here in the studio. So hope you're done in field work and you're back to the commodity advisory business.
Right. Yeah, it was a long fall. I appreciate you having me on.
We've had kind of an up and down week today, or week this week. So what's been going on? What's driving the market?
It's been a crazy week. We started out the week, sharply lower across all the markets, stock market and commodity markets both, based off of the, new COVID fear, Omicron. And, that had a risk-off mentality for the first 2 or 3 days of the week. But midweek, we seemed to kind of gather our legs in corn and beans anyway, in that complex, and regain some strength here going into the end of the week. For the week, March corn was down 7 cents. Really no chart damage done in the corn market. Beans were actually up almost 17 cents for the week. So it really had a strong showing this week. Wheat is one worrisome market. It was down 35 cents for the week. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if it's going to send signals to us on what maybe the rest of the markets might be doing. Could have been some wheat, long wheat, short beans, short corn trade going on, because wheat was down 12 cents for the day. Beans were up 23 cents and corn was up 9 cents. So had a strong close in the bean market. I like that. Some of it was maybe based off some dry weather, forecast in South America. I don't know. It's awfully strong though for that kind of a forecast that's out there ways. The meal market was pretty strong, and even bean oil was pretty strong. Okay. One thing we do kind of watch is the crude oil market. It's been down quite a bit this week. We're down about $20 off the high, and that natural gas, that's a big participant in a fertilizer market. It's down quite a bit in the last week or so, down to the lowest levels it's seen since last August. So that's something that bears watching.
All right, Sherm, we appreciate it. We'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
We'll be back with a look at how to clean up your mower or your four-wheeler before winter time. Many farms have utility vehicles for light jobs around the farm. May also have some of those large riding mowers, the zero-turn type, along with some urban homeowners too. Most folks will just park them for the winter, but they need some tender loving care, some winterization, some precision care, according to Rick Cusey. He's the Illinois Regional Manager for Intimidator Mowers and Utility Vehicles.
The first thing to do is to clean it. Blow it off, wash it off so that you get all of the grass and debris that's piled up in the nooks and crannies. Get that all cleaned off because the mice love to make a nest in that over the winter, especially if you keep it in a shed, and they will pack that grass and everything up underneath the engine. Engine can cause overheat, if you don't take it out in the springtime. So you want to clean the mower as best you possibly can to get all the grass and debris off, and also clean underneath the deck. Because grass has got nitrogen in it, and if you leave it lay on there and it stays moist, it'll actually pop the paint off of your mower also. Another thing that you would want to do is take your battery out and bring it inside, because unless you have a battery maintainer that you can put on, to keep the battery trickle charged, otherwise the battery can freeze. So you want to take the battery out, take it down in your basement or in the house somewhere in a corner so that it doesn't freeze. Biggest thing is the gas. You want to run a good fuel stabilizer in the machine before you shut it down for the winter, and just dumping it in the tank, whether it's a push mower or a UTV or anything, you want to run the mower for at least 25 minutes, so that stuff gets up into the carburetor. Because a lot of people will dump it in their gas tank at the end of the season, but the biggest problem is the little amount of gas that's in the carburetor. That's what gets stale and goes bad. The air filter, you want to, of course, make sure that that's clean also, because there again, it's a haven for mice to crawl up in there and make a nest. So the gas, clean it off, air filter, battery, that's basically all you really need to check out, to put it up for winter storage.
All right, and we've got a goodbye to you. We're going to say goodbye to wheat scab right after this. Wheat used to be as common as corn and beans in central Illinois, but wheat scab annually reduced the yield and caused toxins that prevented its use as a feed. Someone who is turning that around is Dr. Jessica Rutkowski in the University of Illinois College of Aces. She's making significant headway in eliminating wheat scab and plans to restore wheat as a profitable crop for farmers.
Farmers have been reluctant to plant wheat because of fusarium head blight, and they know that as scab, and that produces vomitoxin or DON to create problems for feeding it. How are you solving it? You're working hard on getting that solved.
Yeah, me and a lot of other breeders in the region and my predecessor, we've been working on this for about 30 years.
And you've made headway.
Definitely, yeah. So we see over the past 20 years that there has been a very consistent trend towards increasing resistance across our whole region here, across multiple breeding programs. And most importantly for vomitoxin, we're reducing that by about 0.11 parts per million per year. That's just the genetic resistance component. So that's just the varieties themselves through breeding. We're reducing vomitoxin by that amount every year.
Okay, and at this point, the end game is what?
I mean, my vision is that we'll actually get to a point where the average variety will be resistant. And we won't even have to worry about it. I mean, we're still going to have to select for it and breed for it, but I want to eliminate it from the minds of the growers. If you look at the statistics and the trends, right when scab became a problem is when you start to see that downward trend in wheat acres. And so if we can really eliminate that as even a problem or a thing to worry about, I think it's going to help us improve acreage.
Okay.
By 40 years, we can have it so that just the average variety is going to be resistant. And, you know, we're not going to have to worry about it. You know, just, of course, we have to, you know, be vigilant, but still not have to, it won't be a big management concern. And I think that we may get to a point where we may not even have to spray or think about spraying.
Okay. But you said the average variety would be resistant, but in between now and then, there will be some special varieties that will be resistant.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of good resistant varieties, and now even there are a lot of resistant varieties that are also high yielding. That's my vision for the next 40 years.
Some great news for her. Some other great news, the U.S. government has just lifted the tariff for 4 months on potash coming out of Belarus, and so that may be some opportunities for spring fertilizer. That wraps up our Midwest Ag News this week. I'm Stu Ellis. Thanks for joining us.